I'm going to show you 4 types of edges. Edges are key to getting a good read on your compositions, on your paintings. It's also to let objects breathe in the painting. Soft edges set the atmosphere. Hard edges demand attention. And you need to master 4 particular types of edges to be successful in watercolour painting. Now, I've pre-wet this paper and I've left a part of it dry just to emphasise what I'm going to do here, just to emphasise my point with these 4 edges. And the first one, the most obvious one, is hard edge. No water, hard edge. Pure sepia. Again, I do these demos in sepia because it is very good for just nice, clean values. No temperature, no colour, just values. So that's a hard edge. Okay. Now this is at various stages of dampness, wetness. I tend to just look at it from an angle to see how the light's catching the paper to judge the moisture levels. You can do this yourself if you want, but you will get timing. Timing will improve as you progress with watercolour. I notice this area is slightly damp, so I'm going to punch in here, one here. You can see the bleed. You can see the bleed, but that's quite firm. It's quite firm. It's bleeding out. So that's a fairly soft edge. I'm going to see if this is a little bit damp. All about timing. That's a bit better. So that's a hard edge, that's a firm edge. This is a soft edge. This is quite wet here, so I'm going to show you here. That's even more bleed in there, so that's a soft edge there. And then we've got lost edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet this paper here and I'm going to drag this while it's still wet into here. I'm going to lose that edge and I'm going to drag it into nothingness. So this edge just disappears. Okay, and you can go back in while it's still wet. You can soften edges while they're still wet. You can bleed this down and make a soft edge. So you can have hard and soft, both sides. I'll show you how I use this for foliage to create atmospheric conditions. This has come out quite nicely because that's hard there and it's firm. There's a little bit of bleeding going on there, but that's firm. And this is still wet, so I'm going to try and dissolve these edges. And again, I'm trying to push this to lost edges. So there you have it, folks. There's 4 types of edges. There's hard, there's firm, a little bit of bleed in there because it was damp. Then there's soft, like this, very furry. And then there's lost. And here I've lost some of the edges. You will find when the watercolour dries, it does leave an edge, but the contrast is very low. But that's essentially what you're looking for with the lost edges. And you can use edges like you use grammar to construct sentences. You use the same type of grammar to create atmosphere, to lead the eye. Hard edges are attractive, soft edges are less attractive, lost edges push the eye away. The eye doesn't see detail, doesn't see anything to go on, so it moves away and it moves towards the hard edges. So you tend to build paintings where the hard edges and the high contrast are the focal areas, and everything else sits in this kind of soft region, firm to soft to lost. If we're talking about general percentages, I personally aim for around about 80% soft edges to get very atmospheric conditions in my paintings. I probably have 10 to 15% hard edges and those edges really have to work to be in the painting. And I really think a lot about hard edges because they make or break the painting, and the rest, which hovers between 5 and 10%, can be lost edges. Sometimes I don't use any lost edges in my painting. Sometimes I use 5 to 10%. Just depends on the painting, really. It depends on the atmosphere that you want to convey. But you master those 4 edges, folks, and you really are getting there. You really are on your way with watercolour.